So in the previous class, we discussed regarding the mechanisms of SN1, SN2, E1, E2, and how to predict whether a given compound undergo either SN1 mechanism or SN2 mechanism, E1 mechanism or E2 mechanism. See, in the today's class, we are going to discuss about optical isomerism. So what is isomerism? What are isomers? Two or more compounds having same molecular formula but different structural formulas are called isomers, and this phenomenon is known as isomerism. Again, this isomerism is divided into mainly two types: structural isomerism and stereoisomerism. In a structural isomerism, we discussed in the first few syllabus chain, position, functional, metamerism, and tautomerism. In a stereoisomerism, again it is divided into two types: configurational isomers and conformational isomers. Regarding conformational isomerism in alkanes, that also discussed in first few syllabus. Now, under configurational isomerism, again it is divided into two types: geometrical isomerism and optical isomerism. The geometrical isomerism in alkenes also studied in first few syllabus. The remaining is optical isomerism, and that optical isomerism today we are going to discuss here. See, what are optical isomers and what is optical isomerism? So this isomerism is based on the optical property. So optical isomers means two or more compounds having a same molecular formula but differs in the rotation of plane polarized light are called optical isomers, and this phenomenon is known as optical isomerism. So again, two or more compounds having same molecular formula but differs in the rotation of plane polarized light are called as optical isomers, and this phenomenon is known as optical isomerism. Then what is the plane polarized light? Let us see first. Plane polarized light. See, if you take ordinary light consists of photons in all directions. So the photons emitted from ordinary light are in all possible directions. This is ordinary light. So when this ordinary light is passed through Nicol prism, so this Nicol prism is made from crystalline calcium carbonate. So when this ordinary light is passed through plane polarized light, then we can obtain the light having photons oscillating only in one plane, like this. About their mean position, so above and below the plane. Within the plane, the photons are present here now. Here the photons are present in three-dimensional space. Here we got the photons which are oscillating only in one plane. So like this, the light which consists of photons present only in one plane is called plane polarized light. That means, so when ordinary light is polarized by passing through the Nicol prism, then we can obtain the light having photons only in one plane, and this light is called as plane polarized light. When this plane polarized light is passed through the solution of an organic compound, or directly through the organic compound, maybe the organic compound may be solid or liquid or gas, whatever it may be. So when this plane polarized light is passed through the organic compound, then here are three possibilities are there. The plane polarized light will come out through this organic compound without any change. That means as it is, it will come outside. And one more possibility is, so this plane polarized light can rotate in clockwise direction. Let us see now here. Like this. Or the plane polarized light may rotate in anti-clockwise direction like this. So three possibilities are there. So the plane polarized light, when passed through the organic substance, it will come out without any deflection, without any rotation. Or the plane polarized light may rotate in a clockwise direction like this. Or the plane polarized light may rotate in a anti-clockwise direction. Now this is a clockwise rotation. This is a anti-clockwise direction. Now, if the plane polarized light emitted without any deflection, then the compound is said to be optically inactive. If the plane polarized light is rotated either in a clockwise direction or in a anti-clockwise direction, then the compound is said to be optically active. So a compound is said to be an optically active compound when it rotates the plane polarized light towards clockwise or anti-clockwise. That ability of an organic compound to rotate the plane polarized light is nothing but called as optical activity. So optical activity means the ability of an organic compound to rotate the plane polarized light either in a clockwise or in a anti-clockwise direction. That is called as optical activity. See once again. So optical isomers, two or more compounds having same molecular formula but differs in the rotation of the plane polarized light are called as optical isomers, and this phenomenon is known as optical isomerism. What is the plane polarized light? The light which consists of photons only in one plane are called is called plane polarized light, and this plane polarized light is obtained when the ordinary light is passed through a prismatic system called as a Nicol prism. Then what is the meaning of optical activity? A compound is said to be optically active if it rotates the plane polarized light either in clockwise or in a anti-clockwise direction. Then the compound is said to be optically active. Right. Next. Angle of rotation. What is the meaning of angle of rotation here? So here, this is the plane polarized light. So this plane polarized light is rotated here. So what are the light present like this here? That will rotate like this. In this case, that means what is angle of rotation? This is actually right, and this is the rotated light. Now, what is the angle present here? This is called as angle of rotation. So the angle of rotation means nothing but by how much degrees the plane polarized light is rotated either in a clockwise or in a anti-clockwise direction. That is called as angle of rotation. So the extent of rotation produced by the organic compound is nothing but called as angle of rotation. Right. Then on what factors this angle of rotation depends? See, the angle of rotation depends on nature of substance. So depending on the nature of substance, the angle of rotation depends. And this angle of rotation is different for different compounds, not same for two or more compounds. Every compound is having its unique angle of rotation. So that depends upon the structure of a given compound. So nature of substance. And second one is the nature of solvent. See, depending on the solvent, the interaction between solute particles and solvent particle changes. Thereby, the angle of rotation also changes. And third one is wavelength, lambda. See, you are passing light. So depending on the wavelength of the light, the angle of rotation also depends. Next, temperature. So by changing the temperature, the angle of rotation can change. Concentration. So depending on the concentration, the angle of rotation changes. Generally, with increasing the concentration, the angle of rotation increases. As the temperature increases, so as the concentration increases, angle of rotation increases. Next, length of the polarimeter. So what is this polarimeter? This total device. This total arrangement is called as the polarimeter. See, the optical activity of a compound can be measured by using polarimeter. Means the polarizability of the plane polarized light can be measured by using polarimeter. So polarimeter is used to measure the optical activity of the organic compound. So depending on the length of this polarimeter, the angle of rotation depends. So generally, as the length of the polarimeter increases, then angle of rotation increases. So these are the factors which can affect the angle of rotation. So the angle of rotation produced by the organic compound depends on nature of the organic compound, nature of the solvent, wavelength of the light what we are passing, temperature of the system, concentration of the solution, and the length of the polarimeter. So this is another angle of rotation. So by changing concentration or length or temperature or wavelength, the angle of rotation changes. So for that, we'll take a standard relation, specific rotation. Under some standard conditions, we will measure the angle of rotation produced by the substance. That is called as specific rotation, alpha. So angle of rotation is going to be a symbol alpha. So alpha lambda t means specific rotation at a given temperature for a given wavelength of light. And this is equal to alpha observed by length of the polarimeter and concentration. So by using this relation, we can calculate the specific rotation of an organic compound. So what is this alpha observed? So alpha observed is the angle of rotation depending on whenever the concentration and length at a given conditions. Suppose here what is length? L is equal to length of the polarimeter in decimeter we should take. L is length of polarimeter in decimeter. C is nothing but a concentration of solution. Concentration of solution in grams per ml, not molarity or normality. Here L is length of the polarimeter in decimeters. C is the concentration of solution in grams per ml. Now, for a given length of the polarimeter, for a given concentration, if we calculate angle of rotation, there is nothing but alpha observed. Now, This is angle of rotation, whereas this is specific rotation. So when does alpha observed becomes equal to alpha at a given wavelength and temperature? If L is equal to 1 and C is equal to 1, then alpha observed is equal to alpha at a given temperature for a particular wavelength. So specific rotation is the angle of rotation produced by the solution of 1 unit length and 1 unit concentration. Here in this expression, if L is equal to 1, C is equal to 1, then alpha is equal to alpha observed. That means specific rotation is defined as the angle of rotation produced when the length of the polarimeter is 1 decimeter and the concentration of solution is 1 gram per ml. So if you take a polarimeter of 1 decimeter length and concentration of 1 gram per ml, these are the standard conditions. Under these conditions, what is the angle of rotation produced? That is called as specific rotation. So by this we can calculate specific rotation, and this specific rotation is different for different compounds. This by changing conditions, alpha observed may changes, but specific rotation remains constant. Specific rotation is a constant for a given compound, whereas this alpha observed can change by changing the length or concentration. Overall, angle of rotation means the angle by which the plane polarized light can rotate is called as angle of rotation. Specific rotation. Specific rotation is the angle of rotation produced when the length of the polarimeter is 1 decimeter and concentration is 1 gram per ml. That is called as specific rotation. Every substance is having a unique value of specific rotation. So overall, the compounds which rotates the plane polarized light are called optically active compounds, either in clockwise or anti-clockwise. The compounds which cannot rotate plane polarized light are called as optically inactive compounds. And so depending on the length of the polarimeter and concentration of solution, the angle of rotation changes. And these are the 6 factors which can affect the angle of rotation: nature of substance, nature of solvent, wavelength of the light, temperature, concentration of solution, and length of the polarimeter. Now, specific rotation. So alpha is equal to alpha observed by length of the polarimeter in decimeter and C is in grams per ml. So depending on this relation, we can calculate a specific rotation of a given compound. So specific rotation is nothing but the angle of rotation produced by a solution of 1 unit length and 1 unit concentration. This is called a specific rotation. Right. Now, depending on the rotation produced, see here, the plane polarized light may be rotated in clockwise direction or in anti-clockwise direction. So depending on that, these organic compounds are divided into 2 types: dextro-rotatory compounds, levo-rotatory compounds. So this dextro and levo names given depending on the some Roman, Greek, Latin words. Then dextro-rotatory and levo-rotatory. What are dextro-rotatory compounds? See, the compounds which can rotate the plane polarized light in clockwise direction. The compounds which rotates the plane polarized light in clockwise or right hand side. So here, on passing this plane polarized light through this solution, if it rotated towards clockwise direction or right hand side, then the compound is named as dextro-rotatory compound. So the compounds which rotate the plane polarized light in clockwise direction are called as dextro-rotatory compounds. Then what is levorotatory compounds, exactly opposite to this. The compounds which rotate the plane polarized light in a anti-clockwise direction are left hand side. So the compounds which rotate the plane polarized light in a anti-clockwise direction are left hand side. Like this. So this is right hand side, this is left hand side. Right hand side is dextro, left hand side is levo. Or clockwise or anti-clockwise, like this also you can mention. So the optically active compound which rotates the plane polarized light in right side or clockwise direction is called dextro compound. Which rotates the plane polarized light in a anti-clockwise or a left hand side are called as a levorotatory compounds. And this dextro and levo are represented by using the symbols D and L, otherwise plus minus. So small d, small l, otherwise plus minus. These are the symbols which are used to mention dextro and levo compounds. Dextro rotatory compound, small d. Levo rotatory compound, small l. And this dextro is also represented with the symbol of plus. Levo is represented with the symbol minus. Plus or D, dextro, minus or L, that is levo. Right. Next. So the compounds which rotate the plane polarized light in clockwise is dextro, that is represented by the symbol small d or plus. Which rotate in anti-clockwise is levo, that is represented by the symbol L or minus. Next. So here we should use small d, small l, not capital D and capital. Again, if you use capital D and capital L, there is one more condition. Let us discuss that. So this is small d, small indicates rotation produced by the compound, whereas capital D, capital L represents the configuration of the molecule. Regarding the configuration, after this topic we'll discuss regarding capital D and small d. Here for optical activity we use small d and small l, not capital D and capital. So capital D and capital L represents the configuration of molecule. Small d, small l represents the rotation of the plane polarized light. That is optical activity. Yes. Next. Asymmetric carbon. Now let us see how to predict whether a compound is optically active or optically inactive. So by using polarimeter we can predict whether a given compound is optically active or optically inactive. But how to predict theoretically whether a given compound is optically active or inactive? See, for a compound to be optically active, the compound should contain asymmetric carbon atom. Then what is asymmetric carbon? See, in a given compound, if the carbon is bonded with 4 different groups, CHO, OH, H, CH3. So here, this carbon atom is bonded with 4 different groups. That is called as asymmetric carbon. Asymmetric. The carbon atom which is bonded to 4 different groups in a compound, that carbon is called as asymmetric carbon. That is represented by a star. This star represents the given carbon is asymmetric. Now, this is asymmetric carbon. Or this is also called as chiral carbon. Asymmetric carbon or chiral carbon. So chirality. Chiral means a hand, the Greek Latin word. See, what the 5 fingers attached to the hand are entirely different. Similarly, If the four groups bonded to carbon atom is different, then that is termed as a chiral carbon. Asymmetric carbon or chiral carbon means carbon atom which is bonded with four different groups is called as asymmetric carbon. Then what is a symmetric carbon? In a compound, if the carbon is bonded with two or more similar groups, now let us take. This is an symmetric compound. So here carbon is bonded with the two similar groups. In any compound, if the carbon is bonded with the two or more similar groups, then it is called as a symmetric carbon, or that molecule is a symmetric molecule. Or more than two also you can take CH3 here. I'll take H, and this is some OH. Take this also as H. Now here three groups are same. So like that, if a given compound contains the carbon atom which is bonded with two or more than two similar groups, then the carbon is said to be symmetric carbon. Okay. So for optical activity, the basic condition required is the given molecule should be asymmetric. So asymmetric molecule. Then what is asymmetric molecule? The molecule in which the carbon atom is bonded with four different groups, then the molecule is said to be asymmetric. Then what are the conditions required for a molecule to be asymmetric? When does we'll say whether a given molecule is symmetric or the given molecule is asymmetric? See, if a molecule possesses any symmetry, then it is optically inactive. What are different types of symmetries present in a molecule? So if any symmetry is present, then compound is optically inactive. If there is no symmetry in the given compound, then the compound is said to be optically active. Then what are different types of symmetries? One is plane of symmetry. The second one is center of symmetry. And third one is axis of symmetry. So if a given compound does not possess any of these three symmetries, then it is said to be asymmetric molecule. That asymmetric molecule is optically active. Then let us see what is the plane of symmetry, center of symmetry and axis of symmetry with some examples to discuss. Plane of symmetry. I'll take one example here. CH3, COH, H, COH, H, CH3. Now, if you observe this compound, this carbon is bonded with four different groups or not? H, OH, CH3, and this entire is taken as one group. Now here carbon is bonded with four different groups. So this is an asymmetric carbon. Similarly, here this carbon is also bonded with four different groups. H, OH, CH3, and this entire is taken as a group. Now this compound possesses two asymmetric carbons, nothing but two chiral carbons, where carbon is bonded with four different groups. Even though this molecule possesses two chiral carbons, this compound is optically inactive. So presence of asymmetric carbon or presence of a chiral carbon is a required condition but not essential condition. So presence of asymmetric carbon or chiral carbon is a required condition but not the compulsory condition for a compound to be optically active. Now let us see. Here it contains 2 chiral carbons, not 1. Even though it contains 2 chiral carbons, the compound is optically inactive. Why the compound is optically inactive? Now the molecule possesses symmetry. If the molecule possesses any symmetry, then it is optically inactive. It should not possess any symmetry. Complete molecule should be asymmetric. Then only it is optically active. Now see, I'll take one imaginary plane here through this molecule. This is the plane what I am going to take here. Now, above the plane, below the plane, exactly same groups are there. See, above the plane and below the plane means exactly we can half fold this molecule. For example, a simple example I'll take. Let us take the symbol A. Now, if you take a plane like this, exactly we can half fold this. This is a plane of symmetry. I'll take the letter B. Now we can take the plane of symmetry here. If you take the letter C, we can take the plane of symmetry. If you take the letter D, we can take plane of symmetry here. If you take the letter E, we can take the plane of symmetry. Now if you take F. Now is there any symmetry here? So if you take a plane here or here like this, now this is not exactly one half of this. Now this is a symmetric molecule. This is optical active. The letter A, B, C, D, E optically inactive. F is optically active. So like this. This is called plane of symmetry. So if we divide the molecule into 2 equal halves with respect to a plane, if the 2 halves are exactly identical, that is called as a plane of symmetry. Now here, this plane can divide the molecule into 2 equal parts. This is called as a plane of symmetry. If a molecule passes plane of symmetry, then that is optically inactive. Okay. So here, so simply HCH3OH. In the direction, I will represent the groups. H2CH3, CH3OH. This is the direction here for these 3 groups. Same H2CH3, CH2OH, I will represent the groups here. In this order we got. See, for this carbon, the order is in this direction. For this carbon, the order is in this direction. That means both are in same direction or opposite? Opposite. Both are equal but in opposite direction. The net rotation will be 0. So this is optically inactive. So this is called as a plane of symmetry. If you divide a molecule into 2 equal parts with respect to a plane, then one half of the molecule is exactly the image of the another half of the molecule, then that is optically inactive. That is called a symmetric molecule, not a asymmetric molecule. This is one type of symmetry called plane of symmetry. Now come to the second type of symmetry. Center of symmetry. Now let us take, I'll take an example here. H, CH3, CH3, H, Cl, H, Cl, H. Now if you observe here, all these 4 carbons are asymmetric. This carbon is bonded with 4 different groups here. This carbon is bonded with 4 different groups. Now, I will take the center of this molecule. So, from the center of the molecule, if you take an axis in opposite directions, then we can get a same type of arrangement. From this center upward, H is there. Exactly same direction, same opposite direction, H. Now, if you take this methyl group and this methyl group, through this if you take one line here, like this. Here, above the plane CH3 is there, here, below the plane. That means exactly with respect to this axis, we can half fold the molecule. With respect to this line, if we half fold this molecule, this H will come downward. This Cl will go upward. Down will come up will come down. That is in when you half fold the molecule. Okay. So if take these two Cl and Cl, if we join through this axis, then the molecule can be divided into two equal parts. One half of the molecule is the mirror image of another half of the molecule. So whatever is there, if you take the image exactly reverse, you can get half fold. So this is called as a center of symmetry. So with respect to the center, if you take any axis in opposite directions, the arrangement will be same. From the center of the molecule, a point at the center, if you move in any direction, so in one direction what is there, in opposite, in same arrangement will be there in opposite direction also. Then this will nullify this. This will nullify this. This will nullify this. That means the net rotation will be 0. So equal and opposite positions are their groups. The net effect will be 0. Now this is called as a center of symmetry. Right. So the molecule should not possess a center of symmetry. With respect to center, the molecule should not contain two equal parts in opposite directions. That is called center of symmetry. Next, axis of symmetry means if you rotate the molecule by 360 by n degrees, if you rotate the molecule by 360 by n degrees, you can get the same arrangement. Then that is called as axis of symmetry. I'll take an example here. CH3, C, H, double bond, C, H, CH3. Now, with respect to this axis, I will rotate this molecule just by 180 degrees. If you rotate this molecule by 180 degrees, then what you can get here? C, double bond C, CH3, H, CH3, sorry, H, CH3. So I just have rotated the molecule by 180 degrees and 360 by 2. And now I'll take the image of mirror image of this molecule. If you take the mirror image of this molecule, this will be reversed. So like this is there an object, like this an object is there. If you take mirror image, you can get like this, reversed. Means in mirror, if you see what is on right hand side appears in left hand in mirror. What is on right hand, left hand side appears on right hand side on the mirror. Okay, image will be opposite. So now here, if you take the mirror image of this, you can get the structure like this: CH3, C, H, double bond, C, H, CH3. Okay. Now observe the first molecule and this molecule. Both are exactly same or not? Now here we have rotated the molecule by 180 degrees, and then you have taken the mirror image. Then I got the same structure. That means here, by rotating a molecule by 360 degrees by n, if we got the same structure, that is called as axis of symmetry. This is called as alternate axis of symmetry. Rotation by certain angle and then take the image. After rotating by certain angle and then taking the image, we will give the identical structures. This first and second, so the third one. First, the molecule is rotated by 180 degrees. After rotation, we have taken an image. Then first and last structure, both are exactly identical. This is called as axis of symmetry, nothing but alternate axis of symmetry. Then what are different types of alternate axis of symmetry? Let us say, I'll take water molecule. With respect to this axis, this is called as a C2 axis. That means, if you rotate this molecule by 180, C2 means here 2 represents this n value. If you take n is equal to 2 here, this will be 180. Means if you rotate this molecule by 180 degrees, then we can get the same structure. This is called C2 axis of symmetry. Now take one more, ammonia molecule here, with one lone pair here. Now, here triangle is the recular triangle. This is. Now this is called C3 axis of symmetry. If you rotate this molecule by 120 degrees, again you can get the same structure. 120, 120, 120, total 360. Or simple as here. This is the triangle, equilateral triangle. With respect to this point, if you rotate the molecule by 120 degrees, we can get the same triangle. Again, rotate the molecule by 120, we can get the same structure. Or for example, let us take this duster here. With respect to this point, I will rotate this duster by just 180 degrees. I got the same structure. Again, I will rotate this structure by 180 degrees. Again, I got the structure. So this is the axis what I have taken here. With respect to this axis, by rotation by 180 degrees, I got the same structure. So this is called as a C2 axis of symmetry. Like this here, by rotating the molecule by 120 degrees, we can get the same structure. That is a C3 axis of symmetry. And one more example here now. If you take a cube, so this is a cube. These are the two opposite face centers. I will take an axis like this here. Now, with respect to this axis, if rotated by 90 degrees, we can get the same structure. This is a C4 axis of symmetry. So here by rotating 180, here by rotating 120, here by rotating 90 degrees, we got the same structures. Here if we take 4, 360 by 4, 90 degrees. So this is C4 axis of symmetry. Similarly, if you take an hexagon, now this is C6 axis of symmetry will be there. So here, if you rotate the molecule by 360 by 6, then that means by 60 degrees. If you rotate this molecule by 60 degrees, again you can get the same structure. This is called as a C6 axis of symmetry. So these are different types of symmetries that are present in a molecule. Plane of symmetry, center of symmetry, and axis of symmetry. So if a molecule passes any of these symmetries, then the compound is said to be optically inactive. If a molecule does not possess any of these symmetries, then the molecule is said to be asymmetric. That asymmetric molecule is optically active. That asymmetric molecule is called as a chiral molecule. Okay, then so asymmetric molecule, if you take the mirror image of asymmetric molecule, that mirror image is non-superimposable. That is called as a chirality. What is chirality? So a molecule is optically active if it is chiral molecule. What is a chiral molecule? What is the meaning of chirality? So chiral molecule means a molecule which is non-superimposable on its mirror image. That is called as a chiral molecule. Now let us see here. C, H, OH, CH3, some COOH. This is a molecule. Now I'll take the mirror image of this molecule. Then H, C, COOH, CH3, OH. Now this is a mirror image of this structure. Now if you take this molecule as it is here, both these are superimposable or not? So these are not superimposable. One simple example I'll show here. Just here. Suppose this is an object. The mirror image of this object appears like this. So this is the object, this is the mirror image. Now, if I place this molecule as it is over this, can these two are superimposable? No. So these are not superimposable. So like this, if a molecule has a mirror image, and if the mirror image is not superimposable over that, then the compound is said to be optically active. And that molecule is called as a asymmetric molecule. And this phenomenon is called as a chirality. If a molecule is non-superimposable on its mirror image, then it is called as a asymmetric molecule, and this phenomenon is known as chirality. The non-superimposability of a compound and its mirror image is nothing but called as chirality. So the condition required for the molecule to be optically active is nothing but chirality. If chirality is there, the molecule is called optically active, otherwise it is optically inactive. A chiral molecule. A chiral molecule means if a molecule is superimposable on its mirror image, then it is called as a chiral molecule. For example, if you take a compound like this, COOH, CH3, H. If you take the mirror image of this compound, then what you will get here? COOH, H, and CH3. Now, exactly if you place this molecule above this, both are superimposable, both are identical structures. Now, this molecule is called as a chiral molecule. A molecule and its mirror image are superimposable with each other, then there is a chiral molecule. Okay, right. So this is regarding some basic terms here. See once again, optical isomerism. Two or more compounds having a same molecular formula but differs in the rotation of plane polarized light are called optical isomers. Optical activity. The ability of a compound to rotate the plane polarized light is called optical activity. What is plane polarized light? The light which consists of photons oscillating only in one plane is called plane polarized light, and that plane polarized light is obtained by passing ordinary light through Nicol prism, and the device is nothing but known as polarimeter. Angle of rotation. The angle by which the plane polarized light is rotated when it is passed through the substance, that is organic compound, that is called angle of rotation. Specific rotation. So the angle of rotation produced by a solution of length 1 decimeter having concentration of 1 unit is nothing but known as specific rotation. Dextrorotatory and levorotatory. If the plane polarized light is rotated towards clockwise direction or right hand side, that is called dextrorotatory. If the plane polarized light is rotated towards anti-clockwise direction or left hand side, that is called as levorotatory. Asymmetric carbon or chiral carbon. The carbon atom which is bonded with the 4 different groups is called as asymmetric carbon or chiral carbon. Asymmetric molecule. A molecule in which a carbon is bonded with the 4 different groups is called asymmetric molecule. A chiral molecule. A chiral molecule means the compound in which the carbon is bonded with the 2 or more similar groups is called a chiral molecule. Chiral molecule is optically active. A chiral molecule is optically inactive. Chirality. So if the mirror image of a compound is non-superimposable, if a compound contains non-superimposable mirror images, that phenomenon is known as chirality. Okay, right. Now, let us see. So overall, for a molecule to be optically active, the compound should not possess any symmetry. What are different types of symmetries? Plane of symmetry, center of symmetry, axis of symmetry. These 3 types of symmetry should not be present in the given compound. Then only the compound is optically active. Now, enantiomers. And diastereomers. Right. So what are enantiomers and what are diastereomers? Let us see one example I'll take here. Now, this is nothing but butane 2,3 diol. So, butane 2,3 diol. This is a molecule. Now, first we will verify whether this molecule is optically active or not. So, this molecule passes a plane of symmetry if you observe here. So, this molecule passes a plane of symmetry. This is optically inactive. Since it passes plane of symmetry, the molecule is optically inactive. Now, I'll take the same structure in one more way here. CH3, C, H, OH, C, OH, H and CH3. Now, does this molecule possess any symmetry or not? Any plane of symmetry is there? You take a plane like this, here OH is there, here H is there. Here H is there, here OH is there. Now, here 4 groups are different. Here for this carbon, 4 groups are different. So, these two are asymmetric carbons and this molecule does not possess any symmetry. No plane of symmetry, no center of symmetry, no axis of symmetry. Now, I'll take the mirror image of this compound. So, if you take the mirror image of this compound, you can get the compound like this. CH3, C, OH, H, C, H, OH and CH3. Now, this is the mirror image of this compound. Now, this molecule also does not possess any symmetry. Now, verify whether these two are superimposable or not. If you keep this molecule as it is over this, here H is there, here OH is there. Here OH is there, here H is there. CH3 may coincide, but these two are not coincide. So, these two compounds, these two structures are mirror images to each other, which are non-superimposable. These are called as enantiomers. So, enantiomers are the mirror images of an optically active compound, which are non-superimposable. So, non-superimposable mirror images of an optically active compound are called as enantiomers. Then, what about properties of these enantiomers? See, the enantiomers of a compound possess similar physical as well as chemical properties. All physical and chemical properties are same. Just these two structures differs only in the rotation of plane polarized light. Suppose this rotates plane polarized in clockwise, this can rotate in anti-clockwise, or if this rotates in anti-clockwise, this can rotate in clockwise. So, enantiomers of a compound can differ only in the rotation of the plane polarized light. Enantiomers are having a similar physical as well as chemical properties. And from the mixture, these two enantiomers cannot be separated by physical methods like fractional distillation or crystallization. So, enantiomers cannot be separated by fractional distillation or crystallization. Enantiomers possess same physical as well as chemical properties. Enantiomers differs only in the rotation of the plane polarized light. These are called enantiomers. Then, what are diastereomers? Let us see one more example here. COOH, CHOH, CH3. This is nothing but 2,3 dihydroxybutanoic acid. Now, I'll take the mirror image of this compound. Then what will get here? COOH, C, OH, H, C, OH, H, CH3. This is the mirror image of this compound. Let this as first one, let this one as second one. Now, the same molecule I represent in one more way here. COOH, C, OH, H, C, H, OH and CH3. Just what I did here, these two are reversed. The remaining part as it is I wrote here. Now, I will take the mirror image of these two, this compound. If you take the mirror image of this compound, you can get a structure like this. COOH, C, H, OH, COH, H, and then CH3. Let this as third one and let this as fourth one. Now just compare these these four structures. If observe 1 and 2, 1 and 2 are mirror images, but not superimposable. So here 1 and 2 are enantiomers. The pair of 1 and 2 structures are enantiomers. Now I'll go for 3 and 4. Fourth one is exactly the mirror image of the third one, and these two are non-superimposable. So these are non-superimposable mirror images of each other. Then that 3 and 4 also enantiomers. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These two pairs are non-superimposable mirror images. These are called as enantiomers. Now let us compare here 1 and 3, 1 and 4, 2 and 3, 2 and 4. Just compare this. Come to 1 and 3. If you compare 1 and 3, see 3 is the mirror image of 1 or not? No. Because here 2 OH groups are on same side, here 2 OH groups on opposite side. This is not mirror image. 1 and 3 are not mirror images. Now compare 1 and 4. Here also 2 OH groups are on opposite side, but here on same side. So 2 OH groups on same side, 2 OH groups on opposite side. These are not mirror images. So 1 and 4 also not mirror images. Now compare 2 and 3. Here also 2 OH groups are on same side, here opposite side. 2 and 3 are not mirror images. Now compare 2 and 4. Here 2 OH groups on same side, here also on opposite side. Now 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 2, 4. These four pairs are not the mirror images of each other, but are optically active, and such compounds are called as such pairs are called as diastereomers. So diastereomers are the optical isomers of a compound which are not mirror images to each other. So 1 and 3 are not mirror images, both are optically active. So optical isomers of a compound which are not mirror images to each other are called diastereomers. Then what about the characteristic properties of diastereomers? See, if you compare the properties of 1 and 3, both have same functional groups, same groups are there. So diastereomers are having similar chemical properties, but rate of reaction is different. Out of these, the rate of reaction is more for one compound or less for another compound. So diastereomers shows similar chemical properties, but the rate of reaction is different. What about physical properties? See, both these two are having different structural aspects, means different arrangement of groups. As a result, the close packing of molecules is also different. As a result, these possess different melting points, different boiling points, different densities, refractive indexes. So physical properties of diastereomers also different. And diastereomers can be separated by physical methods because the boiling point of these two is different, the melting point of these two is different. So by using fractional distillation or by using fractional crystallization, like that, by applying some physical methods, we can isolate diastereomers. Okay, see once again. The optical isomers of a compound which are mirror images to each other, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, which are non-superimposable. Non-superimposable mirror images are called enantiomers. The optical isomers of a compound which are not mirror images, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 2, 4, these are called diastereomers. Enantiomers will have similar physical as well as chemical properties except the rotation of plane polarized light. Enantiomers differs only in the rotation of plane polarized light, otherwise remaining properties are the same. In case of diastereomers, they possess a similar chemical properties, but the rate of reaction is different. They have different arrangement of the groups, they have different physical properties. Since they have different physical properties, from the mixture, the diastereomers can be separated, but from the mixture, enantiomers cannot be separated. So this is regarding enantiomers and diastereomers. Okay, so this is for today's class. The remaining part in tomorrow class will continue. Thank you.